Welcome back. When I say the words Valentine's Day, what's the first thing you feel? Well, if it's something negative like anxiety or sadness, well, you're going about it the wrong way. But you're not alone because it's a controversial subject for many. Relationship expert Kat Robey is here to sort of calm things down a little bit, right? Take a breather and kind of enjoy the holiday for what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start.
Right, and the idea is, is it a real holiday anyway? Does it have any historical context at all?
It has a lot of historical context, and I don't know that any of them are very useful in today's meaning in society. You know, it has to do with old pagan rituals and festivals and Christianity and Romans, and you know, there's lots and lots of history there, and some of it's true and some of it's not, and you can go look it up and Google all that, but at the end, does it matter? Because that's where a lot of people start the conversation. It's not a real holiday.
Right.
Is Christmas? Is Easter? I'm following on all the religious ones. You know, like Thanksgiving, I don't know, whichever. We
Halloween.
Are the ones that get to decide that. And I think another piece of that comes up is within the realm of, is it a real holiday? Do I have to celebrate it? And it's been commercialized so much.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, is some people tend to hate it, I think, because of the commercialization. I mean, you have products for Valentine's Day on shelves the day after Christmas, pretty much. I mean, that's what happens. The day after New Year, you start seeing these roses, these chocolates. So why do some people, besides that, tend to hate it?
That exact reason. I think it's the expectations that we put on it. And then we put the expectation maybe from our own story that if I get a certain thing from this person, then it means that they care about me. And if I don't, it means they don't. You know, so having something in the calendar, if you have all this story attached to it, or anticipation or expectation attached to it, it could be pretty stressful to have that day coming up in the calendar, which I can appreciate.
Right.
And at the same time, though, if I can, I think about it in terms of Christmas and the holidays are also very commercialized, and we make those mean what we want them to mean, to be able to have the gatherings that we want. And the other thing that's nice about, if you wanted to think about it in a different way, we have no trouble thinking of the New Year as a place to kind of check in with our life. The February 14th could be a check-in on your relationship and no more than that. So there's lots of places where we could just change our perception of it.
Well, check in on your relationship, but also if you're not in one, check in on how you feel about being single, whether you're happy about it, whether you're bitter about it. And we were talking before the segment, there's really two sides to Valentine's Day. There's the couples and there's the singles. So let's hit on the couples first, and we'll hit it on the singles in just a bit. But what can they do, couples, to diffuse some of this Valentine's pressure that they may be feeling?
Probably the most important thing would just be to talk about it. So if you do have expectations, being able to say, you know, Valentine's Day is kind of an important thing to me. Can we do something this year? Or it's important that we show each other, and then see where the conversation goes. But I would also say be careful of telling your partner what you want. Maybe do more of what you want if that's something that's important to you, and find out if that strengthens the bond and then lets them know, you know, like when you do really kind things for me, I appreciate it, but it might not be a card. It might not be flowers. It might not be the thing you're expecting. So really letting your mind be open to how does your partner show you love is an important part of still having the conversation.
Well, I think you make such a good point. So often I think couples have that point of contention because of the expectations that aren't met. They had this in their head, this image of this perfect day or whatever it may be, perfect date or dinner. It doesn't go as expected, and then that's what leads to disappointment. So like you say, don't buy into the Hollywood version of it. It's just another day, and if things don't go as expected, it's just another day, right?
It's just another day, and the way that you just said that, it made me think, you know, you really can't have any expectations on it, because as soon as you do, you will be disappointed. The other person can't read your mind. But to flip that around, like, you're not a bad person for having expectations, but look at what you're missing by only seeing what you think is possible. Like, my husband surprised me so much one time by not giving me anything for Valentine's Day, but he recited poetry to me. I could never have come up with that. So do I want to date myself and my version of what I think I want for Valentine's Day, or do I really want to open up into this couple and experience what it feels like to see someone else's love and affection in a different way?
Well, it's that memory of him reciting that poetry that's going to live on for longer than any box of chocolates or any teddy bear. I mean, those are going to disintegrate, but that memory that you have of him doing that means so much to you. And you're right, it's just the simple little gestures.
Right.
It doesn't always have to be these grand overtures of let's go to this $200 dinner, let's buy you this you know, expensive bottle of champagne, because those things disappear. And so now that we've talked about the couples, how about the singles? Because this time of year can be very tough for them if they feel like they haven't found the right person, if they feel like they haven't settled down. What advice would you give them to get through it and be happy?
A couple things. I have been in those shoes as well, so I always like to think of the times when people made me feel special. Specifically, my parents always would give me flowers. I would give them flowers just as it's a love day to me. So I want to thank my friends for being around. I want to check my perception of what I'm not getting in my life. For example, like you said, if I'm not in a relationship, what does that mean about me? Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. It means you're not in a relationship, but you're making it mean a whole lot of other things about your desire, ability to be in a connection, all this good stuff. So I would say really be kind with yourself on this particular day. Love yourself in that way so that you're not beating yourself up with your stories. Do something kind for yourself there. And maybe reach out in other ways that you can show your love and affection out into the world.
Pamper yourself, and I think you put it best in some of the things you sent over, is that giving is what really fills your heart. Not necessarily receiving, but if you can take that day and give to others, I think you're going to get a lot more out of it than you would otherwise.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. And we actually get a physical response, and we feel good. We get a little hormone shot.
A physical,
when we take care of other people.
Chemical response. It's a day of love. It's a day of giving back. Kat Robey, that's why we have you on, because you remind us to step back and realize what's really going on. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, if you've been interested in professional advice, give Kat Robey a call at 520-906-3392, or of course you can visit robeycounseling.com.